All right, we're gonna put all of this back on. I'm gonna try to do it without my cameraman, camera woman, camera lady. Try to do it all by myself. Try not to mess stuff up. So I'm gonna plop this in here without trying to hang it up or hang it up. So, right there is where it's all gonna happen. That's pretty cool. Meanwhile, we can hear some Leon Russell. Anyways, I'm gonna get my backing plate. There's a few things we're gonna do right here. We're gonna get the backing plate put back on here. Remember, it just slides on like that. So, get my WD-40. And the backing plate, we're going to slide it on. I'm just going to shoot some WD-40 on these old rusty screws. It's pretty particular. The holes in the backing plate are just about the same size as the screws. So once it gets on, there's not a lot of wiggle room to move it, even when you get one in. So got to get it pretty lined up. It's kind of a little bit of a pain. Definitely don't want to get anything cross-threaded if you can help it. But hey, you only live once. You live and you learn. Cross-thread it. Just know that you're cross-threading it. That one's going in good before you cross-thread it all the way. Cross-threading a little bit is acceptable if you undo it. Now we might be that might be in there. Locate my impact with my 3/4. Put it on almost, not all the way tight. Yep, that one's in. That one's in. Once you get two of them in, you know they'll all go. I don't know what the torque spec on that is, but I bet I'm pretty close. I think the torque spec is all of it. So if that goes on, we know that's pretty easy. Now when you put the brake drum on, you want to measure the inside. So check it out, the brake drum is right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the inside of the brake drum, which should be about 13 inches. Which it is, right at 13. So what I want to do, this is where that little bottom deal comes in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the pad. See, right now it's 12.5, and that's where this comes in. You turn this baby, you turn this. Normally you could turn it with your fingers, but mine are all greasy, so because I just did the other side and I was greasing up the bearing. So you turn this, and as you turn that, it's pushing this apart. And that's pushing these out. Let me do one thing before I forget. Take your, don't forget to put this in. This is your emergency brake. You should have a spring on it. And it goes right in. If you remember this thing, this one here, I don't know if you can see that. But this one here has a little hook. You just slide that in there. Make sure you get it all the way in, and then pull on it. That's good. And you want to pull the other side. You want to pull this to take this slack out, because this is your keeper, and that's going to slack in there. You might need maybe needle nose. Probably going to need I might need the vice grips. So I'm taking this, I'm gonna put the vice grips on it, and I'm gonna pull it. You gotta pull it in the sheath, because this part back here, this part needs to slide all the way up and go in the backing plate. So I'm gonna make it straight, because this one was pretty tight. I was having a hard time. Actually, this doesn't have to happen right now, so either way, doesn't have to happen right now. But you want to get this pushed. I mean, I can actually pull it out because I want to do it. I was having to step on this and pull the other end, because this one was really tight. I know it's not making any sense. I'm not on camera. It doesn't matter. So what I've done is I just pulled it through a little bit so I don't have as much slack right here. You want to get all that slack out of there. Push it through the hole that's in the front. Give yourself enough that you can get it in the arm. There you go. That's enough. Then you push this in the keeper and it locks in. But you got to get all that out. So hopefully I'll be able to pull all this slack out. Oh, tight quarters. So I'm going to try to get that slack out. I think I can. I don't know. I think I can. This was pretty. There it goes. Wow. Perfect. You want to have a little bit of slack. Make sure that these aren't. Okay. Very good. I think that looks good. So I'm going to I've been turning that. We're going to take a measurement here. I'm about 12 5/8. You want to have it pretty close. I've lost my my little wheel turners. You keep doing this every about 3 or 4 turns. It's going to give you about 1 rotation all the way around. Might give you about 1/8 of an inch, maybe. I'm about a little more than 12 5/8 now. I'm going to keep doing it, turn it. I get about 4 or 5 more. I was getting up to about 12. And what you want is you want to spread these out so that they're almost touching your drum, but not touching your drum. I'm about 12 3/4 right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to slip it on there. Make sure it slides over the drum, over the shoes, which it does. Ooh, it's just hear it touching just a little bit, and I'm okay with that. But it's spun freely, as long as it's not dragging. You should be pretty good. Now I'm going to do a little something on here. Hopefully you can see. So the bearings I was talking about, we got our inner and outer bearings in this giant drum. I'm going to see if I can turn this here. So in the giant drum here, we have our bearings. This bearing here, I know you can't really see real well, but I'm going to take all this grease. Normally you would take the bearings out and pack them. These have some grease in them, but it's a little drier than I'd like. So this gap right here, there's a gap between the seal and the bearing. And I'm just going to take my finger, I'm just going to shove it in there. If you ever caulked anything, it'd be like caulking. But you want to get as much in there you can't have, as far as I'm concerned, you can't have too much grease in here. And you really, really want to get it in the bearing, inside the race. That's what it's called, the race. It's what the wheel bearings are inside the little cage or whatever, you know. So the race is what it rides on. So that's in there. And what's going to happen, you just push that in there, because once you go putting this up there, it's going to ride against this shoulder, and that's going to push like that. You get enough grease in here that you pull the bearing up, you pull it up and it stays, that's good. So I'm going to put more. You just keep, I'm just so close to getting this thing going that I'm not going to replace these bearings now. And I'm not afraid to work on this stuff, so pulling this out, pulling these bearings out is not a big deal to me. So, you know, if I run into any problems in the future, I'll just pull them out, grease, you know. And then the only reason I didn't do it is because I didn't want to pop the seal out, which you can also put some grease on. Some grease on that seal right there. Ain't gonna hurt nothing. So now when I pull this bearing up, it stays. It just pretty much stays up. And then you can feel on the front side of it where you can get in the cage, and the wheel bearings are in there. And you can pull this up against your finger and just wipe it off like you're scraping mud off your shoe. I mean, it's not ideal like packing. You really want to push all the grease in there till it's squeezing out around all of those bearings inside there. It takes care of any play that you have. It dissipates heat. It repels moisture. I mean, you just want this thing loaded. So I'm just taking some grease on my finger here, and then I'm going to just wipe it right against that while pushing up. So I'm pushing it up into that wheel bearing. And man, don't even be afraid. Just get it all up in there. All of it. All of it. Not most of it, not some of it. All of it up in there like that. Very nice. Then you're going to flip this puppy over, because there's the other bearing on the other side. Now that bearing's not flopping around in there because there's so much grease. It was flopping around before, but now there's so much grease in it. Here's this one. I don't know if you can hear it. See how it's moving around like that? I mean, it's okay. Once you get it set on the spindle, it's all going to stay. But right now, I'm getting all that, and I'm going to come right on top, and I'm going to push down, because you get all that. I can see the bearing, all the bearings inside there in the cage, and I'm going to get as much grease as I can down inside there. Not on the race, on the cage, but we want it inside the cage. I use that whole thing. It's just wheel bearing grease, all it is. Here's an old, look at that one. Premium wheel bearing grease, red grease. Bring it, shove it in there. And shove it, shove it, shove it. Look how much I'm putting in there. I'm just putting it in there, right in between the hub, inside the cage. And there's a little shoulder there. You can kind of run your finger like you're running a bead of caulk, and it pushes it down inside the bearings. Just lots. I mean, what's going to happen if you don't put enough? It could burn up, you get hot. You know, there's a lot of things that could happen if you don't put enough. But what could happen if you put too much? Well, nothing bad, as far as I know. I could be wrong. So now I can pull this up, and it just about stays up. Now I'm going to do the same thing from the back side. Now, like I said, ideally you would take these bearings out and do this, but I didn't want to I'm not even 100% what year. All I know is this is a 14 bolt full floater, 10.5 inch rear end, 13 inch. I know it's not a 1 ton because the perches on a 1 ton are further out than the perches on a 3/4 ton. So this is a 3/4 ton. If you want to go to a, you know, if you're thinking about doing a swap, you have a 1/2 ton truck, you want to go from a 10 bolt 8.5 inch rear end to a 14 bolt 10.5 inch rear end, just basically find one from a donor truck that is a 3/4 ton, a 2500, or in this case, this came off a K20, because the perches that are on your, oh, I forgot, because your perches that are on your axle shaft where the leaf springs ride, those are the same distance as a half ton. 3/4 ton is actually narrower, which is weird. So I'm gonna take some grease, I'm gonna run it right on here, because you can see that's where the bearing rides. Just grease it up. I mean, you'd rather not have grease in your hardware on your brake pads. Try not to drop any in there. If you do, it's not the end of the world. But I'm just greasing this up, just this lip right here, and then I'm gonna grease up on the inside of that lip right there. Why? Because that's why. And it's fun. So bearing grease is cheap. So use it up. Now I'm gonna set it on there. I want to be careful not to knock it all out. Then you're gonna slide it up, pick it up, slide it. Oh man, that went on nice. That went on so nice. All right. Got my backing plate on. Now, this baby's up here, and we're gonna push this bearing in with our finger a little bit if we can. Where's my magic? I need 2 things. One of them, oh, I'm using it there. One of them's my handy Leatherman, the other one's my flathead. What you got is this bearing in here. This, you want to kind of set that. This bearing, you can kind of push it in like that. Just push it in. Don't damage it, just push it in so that this will sit up. And then I'm gonna take some more grease. I'm gonna shove it in there because we like grease. You just get it right in there as much as you want, because when you put that nut on, it's just gonna push it all into the bearing. See, like that? Just kind of get it on there. I'm gonna smear it around. Let me adjust this a bit. And just this gap between the axle tube and the hub on there. And you're just gonna get your finger in there. Push it in as far as you can. So now, got a lot of grease. I can't really see the bearing in there because I got so much grease on there. Now my hands are super greasy. And my rags are over on the other side of the truck. But you're gonna get this on there. These are super fine threads, and I think they're tapered if I'm not mistaken. You get it going. You can turn it backwards till it clicks, which I just did. Then you put it on there. Once it's going, just give it some turns so you know you're not cross threading it. It'd be pretty hard. You would have to really try hard to cross thread this. Anyways, getting that in there. I'm gonna use my flathead. You just gotta turn it 6 million times. They have a wrench for this. I think I even have one, but I mean, I'm just gonna do this. You're gonna turn it, and you're gonna turn it some more. And you're gonna listen to some Leon Russell. Turn it and turn it and turn it until it gets tight-ish. You get it snug is what you want. You don't want to torque down on this. I wouldn't use a wrench. So, and you can kind of push. Now it's getting kind of snug. Now, if you remember, oh, well, I mean, maybe you don't remember. So, I'm pretty snug. When you get to this point, I'm gonna pick this up. Remember, you need this key to line up. So your key is gonna slide on this. So you need to either go back to this one, or you need to bring this one around to line up with this. You can slide that key in there. You don't want to go too crazy, but I'm going to go ahead and try. I haven't hammered on this. I'm going to try to get that next one around. If it's too tight or too hard, then don't force it. Just back up. Yeah, I'm going to get there. I'm just using my hand. It's pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and take it around, right? All I got to do is get a couple more. Move it a little bit more. I'm going to use my impact as a hammer. I wouldn't hit on it too hard. There. Not too terribly hard. Anyways, there. I think I made it. That's not too tight. And your key. Remember our key? Now the key, you have made a square with the groove. And that key's just going to slide right in there. And then, oh, dude. I don't know if you saw that goop coming out. That's good. I like that. That's just fine. All that. When I shoved that key in there, all that grease came out. That's good. That means there's a lot of grease in there. And it's better than no grease in there. And now our little retaining clip, snap ring, C-clip, whatever you want to call it. You're going to put this in there. But you see there's a little hook on there. This little hook on this edge, you want that in the groove that the key went. So really, I mean, you can do this with your hand. See, I just push that in with my fingers. And you just kind of shove it back. You don't have to push. It just, that all that needs to do is hold against that key. That's it. Now I'm getting real excited. Spins pretty good. So you know what that means. I'll back up a little bit here. Take an axle. You're going to slide your axle. It'd be good to wipe it. Let me grab the rag. Just grab it and just wipe it a little bit. I left my rags way over here. I had to go get them. Let me grab a rag. I'm going to take it. I'm just going to wipe it. No biggie. I'm just going to wipe it off. You don't get any junk in there. Maybe look at this. Right up here on the end, this is where it rides. So you'll see this flat part, it kind of, you can see it's flat, and then it kind of flares out a little bit, and then it's smooth right here. This is where it's going to ride, right in that bearing. So we're going to put this in. I'm just going to slide her in. You're going to slide it till you feel a little, you don't just shove it in there. You're going to feel it hitting on the, so you're going to tilt it down so you bring that other end up just a little bit. Give it some rotation. There it went in. Now you're going to turn it till the gear locks. There it goes. Now it's in. So I'm going to pull it out about 2 inches right here, and I'm going to run grease right around the axle there. Big old blip. I'm going to run that right there, right on that smooth spot. Why? I don't know. Why not? Just get some on there, nice and a little bit. Don't have to be too much. I'm just going to spin and shoot it all off anyways, but I'm going to feel better about having it on there. And then these holes, you got to line these holes up, shove it in, boom. That's boom. I always can, you know, I'm pretty bad about it. You should always pretty much just start everything fingers. But I've spun a lot of impacts in my day, so I don't really suggest starting a bolt with the impact. As a matter of fact, this one's kind of tough. You got to get these lined up pretty good. Once you get 2 in, then you're golden. I got 2 going. Start it with the impact. Just put them in a little bit. Don't cross thread it. Just go slow. Go slow. I know it's close close to getting it together and you're getting all excited and you just want to ram it home, and that's where you start fucking shit up, man. Let's not fuck shit up today. Let's leave that till tomorrow. Look at that. Look at that. You slide it in. Okay, that's good. And then you go opposite. That's what I always do. Opposite. Come back. Opposite. 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 Come back. Opposite. And opposite. I'm going to drive this one all the way down. I'm going to come back here. Opposite. I'm sure there's a torque specification for this, but when it comes to things like this, my torque specification is tight, all the way tight. That's it. I'll wipe my hands off. That's it. So now, if you want to be cool like me, then what we're going to do is we're going to unplug the fan. You want to protect that from rusting in the future. You kind of wipe it if you want a little bit. Grease is okay. You want to pick your favorite color and go to town. My favorite color on this truck, that's right, is going to be purple. So we're going to get a good coat of gloss. It doesn't matter if it's spray paint or if it's, you can do it with a brush. You can do any color you want. Gloss is the way to go. Oil base is the way to go. Enamel would be best, but since this is Bruiser, he's black and blue, just like a bruise would be. But you know, sometimes when you get a bad bruise and it can have some purple on it, yeah, that's where this comes in. The rotors and the calipers are also purple, so she gets purple down here. I'm gonna run out, but that's it. I'm gonna sit here, and this is completely sealed, so I mean, you can get paint anywhere and everywhere. Just get a good coat. I mean, it's gonna be covered by the wheel, unless you got some spoke type wheels, but if you're putting spoke type wheels on a Suburban, yeah, then you probably got 20-inch rims. You and me probably wouldn't get along. Nah, we'd get along. I'm just kind of old school. I have the 17s. I would have done 16 and a half, so you can do the military rims, but they are getting harder and harder to find, man. But this right here doesn't matter. We're really doing this more for protection than anything. You know, it's just a subtle nod at the bruise. Purple. Nobody's probably going to see this. They might see it occasionally through the D holes in my rims, but I doubt it. This is just to get a good protective coating on there like that. Now I'm just going to spray up here until I'm out of paint. Now, I appreciate anybody who might have seen this. Like I said, I didn't do it for you. I just do it for me. I got some friends that are excited that I'm even working on this damn thing, and they're like, what? You're gonna get it going? You know. So kind of excited about that, but I appreciate you hanging out. If you run across this video, if anything in there has been helpful, I hope it helps you out. I hope that maybe you have a big old project like this sitting in the garage, and you just sitting on your ass thumbing through YouTube, and you come across something like this, and you're like, oh dude, man, I need to get off my ass and get it on the road. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. All right, that's it for today. I'm gonna go in and have some dinner later. Purple Burple.